I mean, I think they're in a great place. I mean, you look at it, they're ranked number 11 right now. I think with this win and with, some of these wins to these top 10 teams, they're right back in the top 10 going into ACC play. They obviously have, things that they will need to be very aware of as the season goes on that they learned of themselves through the UConn game, the Kentucky game, some of these games that they, lost early on. But at the same time, like we talked about, it's a big thing to play against this level of competition this early on, and it's especially when it's a team that's brand new to each other. You've got a couple freshmen in there. You've got one freshman that's playing a lot of minutes. Um, and it's going to end up being extremely helpful going down the stretch, especially once you start getting outside of ACC play, going into the tournament when you're playing against teams that might play different styles of basketball, that might be more physical, that might have different game plans. So I think where they are right now going into ACC play is perfect. Obviously you would have loved to get the Kentucky game, the UConn game. You can always go back and say, man, I wish we would have gotten that one. But taking that loss, I think was, their last game against Kentucky, I think was big for them because now you can watch film, see what you need to get better at against a team of that caliber, playing against UConn and taking that film and breaking that down and looking at, okay, this is what we didn't do. We didn't execute on offense. We didn't defensively, we didn't talk or we didn't rotate the way we were supposed to rotate, things like that. Now you can take that going into conference play and now you can just, be who you are going forward. And I think that's going to be huge. I think it's a very underrated thing. I think a lot of times you see a lot of these teams play a super weak non-conference schedule, and so then they're not prepared for the kind of competition that's going to be coming up, through their conference play and throughout the tournament. So I love where they are. I think Coach Davis has them going in the right direction. I think you're seeing guys get more comfortable with each other. I think you're seeing guys kind of find what their role or their niche is. And at the same time, I mean, honestly, this is RJ Davis has been on a tear that, like we talk about, we haven't seen much of, and
Mhm.
for him to be able to do it against these type of teams, I think just fuels his confidence even more. It gives him you know, knowing each and every game where he can be aggressive, where his spots are, how certain defenses might play against him going forward, because you saw a lot of different adjustments in these last few games trying to slow him down a little bit. So now you see a bunch of different ways that they might guard you. So now whenever you go into another game and you see all of a sudden they're blitzing the ball screen that you're coming off of, now instead of maybe going off that ball screen, maybe you hit the big and you come off of it and we call it get game, but you hit the big and you come off of it now, and now there's not a set that the big that's guarding the big that you throw to isn't set. So now you can have different ways of attacking that. So I think that's obviously a big plus, and then you just take all the film. Film doesn't really usually lie. So when you sit down and if you're honest with yourselves and say, hey, this is where I could have done better, this is where I did really good at, I think they have the perfect film to be watching going into ACC play.